All right, welcome back, George. We are diving into college basketball for the first time on this podcast. I know I've been kind of divvying into college hoops recently since obviously the NFL season ended. I was tuning into it during the NFL season, during Feast Week, and during all those like big, early season matchups. But now it's kind of ratcheting up. We know March Madness is right around the corner. I know you've been following along just like me. Last week, by the way, George, last Saturday, we had an unprecedented top 4 showdown of number 1 versus number 3, number 2 versus number 4. We never get that late in the season. It was Duke and Michigan had an awesome game in the nation's capital. And then Arizona and Houston, 2 of the best teams in the Big 12, number 1 and number 3 at the time, squared off. That was a phenomenal one as well. Arizona got the win on the road. A lot of good teams in college basketball this year, George, although the bubble's not very good. Like there's a lot of bad bubble teams, but like the good teams are good is the point. So yeah, diving in, which conference do you think we should start with? I mean, to me this year, George, the ACC is back to being like, remember how bad the ACC was last year?
Yeah.
Where it only got 4 teams.
It was Clemson and like Duke.
It was Duke, Clemson, Louisville, and then I think North Carolina got in as like a flat 4 in kind of thing. But it was a 4-bid league in like an 18-team conference. That was really bad for our standards. I mean, we're used to ACC basketball being like the cream of the crop. Last year had a really bad year. It had some bad years in between, but now we're back. We're gonna get like 8 or 9. I think the teams I have projected in are obviously Duke, Virginia, North Carolina, Louisville, NC State, Clemson, Miami, SMU. Maybe they get Virginia Tech in as well, but like that's like half the league. So like ACC is now back to being a respected. Like you're going to get most of your good conference teams in the tournament, which is really good, obviously, for the league.
Yeah, no, the ACC really kind of took an impressive step forward this year. Obviously, it kind of starts with Duke, like it always does. But Louisville, I mean, that like 2-3 year turnaround for Louisville since, remember they were, I think it was 2-3 years ago, they were
horrible.
Awful. They beat us, obviously, but they were awful, and they turned around. Now they're like 20-8. That team is just really talented, kind of top to bottom. And then Virginia, we talked about a little bit before we got on air here. They just are like underrated. Like they're 25-3, like very quietly. And it's like, I don't even know, are they top 10 right now? I don't even think they are.
I don't think so.
It's like ACC's having a great year this year. Obviously, we can go a little Clemson. They unfortunately have lost 4 in a row, 20-4 to 20-8, and it hasn't been pretty. But I mean, if that's the 8th best team in your conference at 20-8, you're in a pretty good spot. So
that's pretty good. Yeah, I was gonna say Louisville, what Pat Kelsey's done there in 2 years has been incredible. They are now back to being a basketball school. Virginia with Ryan Odom. Obviously, the news last year, right before the season started, Tony Bennett retires. It's like, oh my gosh, Virginia basketball is in trouble. They had a really bad year last year. Now they are back. Ryan Odom, who famously beat him at UMBC in 2018, I believe it was, with that team. Now he's coaching Virginia, and he's gotten them, like you mentioned, 25-3. No one's talking about him. I mean, Jakari White is shooting like 45% from 3. The transfer from North Dakota State. They had a really good transfer class. Lee Thomas and those guys. They got a really nice freshman, DeRitter, who's putting the ball in the basket. Like it's not just Duke anymore. Like last year, I thought the conference was just Duke. Louisville and Clemson were, I believe Louisville was like an 8 seed and Clemson was a 5.
Clemson coming off that Elite 8 run was like, who knows? But yeah,
who knows? Yeah, but then they got bounced in round 1. I was like, okay, maybe it was just Duke because Louisville and Clemson both got bounced in round 1, and as did North Carolina. It was like last year it was Duke and kind of everybody else. I think this year it's like a legit conference. Miami's good again. Jay Lucas has turned that team around.
I expect Duke to win the tournament, but if you look at the top 8, it's like I could genuinely see NC State. Like I love Will Wade. I think he's a great coach. Yeah. Miami's had a surprisingly really impressive year. SMU, Florida State is even playing well now. It's like they're not going to win the tournament, but there's a lot of teams here, and I think there's something to be said. And I don't mean to compare football, basketball. It's kind of, they're very different sports. But when you look at football and basketball, the way the portal has really impacted basketball, it to me is a lot more clear. Like you can see it because there's only 5 guys on the court for your team. And there's only, 13 guys on the roster or something like that. And so it's like take Clemson, for example, and I'll probably bring him up a couple times, but there's only one returning player or one returning production piece from last season, Dylan Hunter. And he's not even having that great of a season. And they brought in all these transfer guys. And it's like, none of these guys have ever been on campus a year ago. And here they are, they got 20 wins and they're having, if they were 20-4, obviously they're on a skid. But yeah, so to me, it's pretty cool, especially when you've got 64 teams making the tournament and you've got like basketball, you can make these runs where these NIL deals in this portal is like, things are shifting around. Obviously, the Dukes and the Houstons and the Arizonas and the Gonzagas, they're going to get their elite high school recruits, and they're going to be great, and they're going to have their one-and-dones. But it's pretty cool to me to see, like, Louisville was able to turn it around in 2 years because they can bring a good class in. They have a good coach who can – the high schoolers are like, hey, I want to go play for that guy. And also it's just, like, the ACC it's pretty fun to play in the ACC. So
it is.
Credit to the ACC so far this year. Credit to the transfer portal. It's just, it's been a pretty fun year to watch.
No, you nailed it. With those top teams, you can kind of rely on the recruits and the high-end high school talent. But like with Louisville, they bring in Ryan Conwell from Xavier, but then they also have one of the top high school point guards in Michael Brown. So that backcourt is now solidified.
Right.
Virginia's had a really good transfer class. I think Clemson's had a really good transfer class as well, at least defensively. Like I said, last year they're losing their entire front court, obviously with Shefflin and Locken, Victor Locken. But can you bring in, obviously Chauncey Wiggins also left. Can you bring in guys who I think they brought in better defenders?
Tall guys who can defend and shoot the three. That's the Brad Brownell way.
Exactly. Right, yes. They actually bring back RJ Godfrey. They bring Carter Welling, who was the WAC Defensive Player of the Year last year. They bring in Nick Davidson. So they got a better defensive front court, in my opinion. Obviously, for Clemson, they're lacking a go-to scorer. I don't think anyone on their team
correct.
I don't think anyone on their team actually averaged more than 13 or 14 a game, if I'm not mistaken. I think RJ Godfrey is the leading scorer at like 13.8.
And he's not exactly a facilitator in terms of scoring.
No, but they lost, obviously, Chase Hunter last year, who was kind of their go-to guy. As far as like a senior guard. Obviously, they had Joe Girardi before.
The Hunter and Locken pick and roll was just, there were so many points scored off that. And so for a place that's going to be difficult, but they've done a pretty good job, all things considered.
They just had issues, as far as like their offense goes, like go-to scoring late in games. That's been a bit of an issue. You saw it in the Florida State game. You saw it in, I forget if it was NC State where they got beat at home there. But NC State's got a phenomenal transfer class. You mentioned the transfer class that Will Wade's brought over some guys from McNeese, brought over Darian Williams from Texas Tech, who was on that Elite 8 team last year with the Red Raiders. So they've got dudes. They got Trey Holloman from Michigan State. Yeah. So the ACC is back now. I mean, North Carolina, obviously, they're having a much better year with Caleb Wilson, who's going to be a top 5 pick in the NBA draft. Cam Boozer might win National Player of the Year. He might be the number 3 pick in the NBA draft. So the ACC is having a really phenomenal year this year. Again, like you mentioned, Miami, Jay Lucas, what he's done turning around Miami, who was awful last year. And, they don't shoot the ball very well, but they rebound. They can beat anybody on a given day. So I think the ACC's got 8-9 teams who I think could win multiple games in March. Like, it win at least 1 or 2 games in March. And that's pretty scary for that league.
Yeah.
Yeah. But by the way, moving on, because it's not just the ACC. The Big Ten is really top heavy. They got Michigan. They got Illinois. They got Purdue, Nebraska, Michigan State. All these teams are Elite 8, Final 4. I don't think Nebraska's Final 4 good. But Michigan, Purdue, Illinois might be national championship game good. Michigan obviously is loaded.
You watch Michigan, and when they're making shots, it's like, oh my Lord! Like, this is obviously Duke took care of them. They played really good defense, and I don't know if you saw that clip. It was like on Twitter, but the Duke players talking at halftime, it was so good. They're talking about just
Isaiah Evans,
kind of small corrections, and you don't hear any John Shire. That's kind of shows you that Duke culture. But I say this to say, Michigan, man, I was so impressed with what I saw from Michigan. I think that, Yaxel Lendenborg, it's like he's so efficient, like everything he does. I mean, they're 10-1 in quad one. Their only loss is that Duke loss. Right. So I think Michigan, I don't know if they're my favorite, but my goodness, that Big Ten, like you said, Michigan, Illinois, what's it called?
They went into Purdue. They went into Mackey Arena, won by 20.
You don't just do that. Especially like Purdue has been a staple of the country really over the last 10 years. You don't do that. So ultimate credit to Michigan for sure.
No, Braden Smith, who was like the National Player of the Year favorite heading into the year, looked out of sorts against Michigan. Like, that's one of the best guards in the country, and Michigan's the size disrupted him. Adai Mitchell, I think Michigan, the one thing is with Michigan, they protect the rim so well. So you can't score at the rim with them. So that's why for Duke, it was impressive they were able to beat them kind of at their own game. Like, Duke was scoring in the paint, but they did have, Adai Mara got in foul trouble for Michigan. I think both Michigan's big actually got in foul trouble in that game. So it's like, for Duke, I thought Duke defended them so well, and Duke made them take tough threes. Elliot Cadeau, I think, was like 1 for 9 from 3. Like, it was one of those games where Duke kind of had to win because of how well they were playing defensively and how well they were rebounding. They kept Michigan off the glass. So to me, I came out of that game, Michigan loses by like 4 or 5 points. I still think Michigan's the best team in the country. I still do, and I'm really impressed by Duke. I mean, I'm a Duke guy, a Duke and Clemson guy. But by the way, impressive win by Duke. But I still think Michigan, with their size, Dusty May, I think, is the best coach in the Big Ten. Sure. What he's done, getting Elliot Cadeau away from North Carolina, getting Yaxel Lendenborg from UAB. I mean, they got a bunch of dudes who can just put the ball in the basket, and they have the size, and they have the senior, veteran presence that you need to win in March. Yeah. Michigan's kind of got all the ingredients. Illinois, I like a lot too. Purdue, I like a lot too. Michigan State, I'm not big on Michigan State, George. They just can't shoot the ball very well. I love Tom Izzo, but I just can't shoot the ball very well.
It feels like they're a team that they take care of business when it's, like they're going to beat the worst teams. They're going to take care of business. I don't expect them to get upset in the tournament, but I also don't expect to see them in the Final Four. It's like a 3-4 seed where if you lose to a 5-6, you're not super surprised because those are about the same level of team. But I don't expect to see them to lose to like a 10, right? But
no,
I mean the Big Ten, it's weird because it's so hard to win on the road in the Big Ten. It feels like that's always kind of been a huge thing.
Yes.
And Michigan State has done that like relatively well. I think they only have 3 away losses and they're all quad 1, I believe. So, I respect Michigan State, love Tom Izzo, but yeah, I think that they're a couple steps away in terms of a championship team this year.
That was my big issue with the Big Ten. The last few years, I've named my brackets fade the Big Ten, where I'm just like, I'm not into the Big Ten. It was exactly why you mentioned, because the last few years, at least since I've watched the Big Ten mostly, teams just don't win on the road in that league. And I don't like you in March if you don't win on the road, because none of these games are home games. In the tournament, they're all neutral sites. You better be able to win away from home.
And there's some weird neutral sites where you're moving, you're going a long ways away. So.
You're going exactly right. So you better be able to win away from your own building. A lot of these Big Ten teams are so like home team. They're relying on their environment. And I'm like, they're not able to win. That's why Michigan really impresses me. I think Purdue obviously can do it. Illinois, they've won in Nebraska. They almost won. They lost an overtime game in East Lansing to Michigan State, but they've proven they can go on the road and they can compete. Wisconsin actually has 2 of the best road wins in the entire country. They won at Michigan, and then they won at Illinois in Champaign. I'm like, okay, Wisconsin, they're kind of streaky a little bit. They might lose anybody, but they can also beat a 1 seed. And I wouldn't be shocked, because Wisconsin might end up on that 7 or 8 line, and they've proven they can beat an Illinois and a Michigan on the road. But the Big Ten is it is really top heavy. The bottom of the Big Ten is really, really bad, George. I almost don't even want to look at it. It's like Minnesota, Oregon, Rutgers.
I hate seeing Maryland down there. I hate seeing Maryland down there. I'm from Maryland, obviously, and I'm just so surprised. Buzz Williams, and obviously people talk about this is what he does. His first season, he comes in and they're kind of bad, and they build up to a good season. But it's like that's not really the culture anymore, man. Like we talked about it a second ago. That portal's big. They lose Jacoby Gillespie to Tennessee. That's a huge piece. And so it's like I hate to see Maryland down there, but like you said, the bottom of the Big Ten. Pretty unfortunate. But the real question is how many Big Ten teams are going to make it? Because I think up to Wisconsin, you feel pretty good. And then like Ohio State, UCLA, I don't know if Ohio State's kind of lost a couple important ones down the stretch.
They're 0-9 in quad 1, George.
Are they really? Oh my!
It's like the North Carolina of last year, where they don't have any quad 1 wins. They don't have any terrible losses, I don't believe.
Technically, they're 1-9 with a away win against Northwestern, who's like number 70 exactly.
Yeah, that actually got him. Yeah, that's true.
Because I'm looking now, but
the Northwestern one turned into a quad 1 win. Yeah. No, but I'm with you. The Big Ten is weird. I think UCLA is on the right side of the bubble after they just won a crazy overtime thriller against Illinois, and then last night they kicked USC's teeth in on the road. I think UCLA is on the right side of the bubble, but Ohio State's kind of like that last team in, first team out kind of weird thing. USC is really free falling right now. They lost.
Ohio State feels like they need to steal one of those big wins. I don't know if they've got 2 quad. They got Purdue and Iowa coming up. Purdue at home would be insane.
That'd be a huge one.
But they definitely need to steal a win or 2 here. But the Big Ten,
Indiana as well. I believe Indiana, they lost, I think it was 2 nights ago at home to Northwestern. That took a big hit to their bubble chances. Yeah, I think they're still in, but that's one of those where they need like a big quad 1 win to end the year, I think.
Right. I think, and I mean, they have Michigan State, and then technically Ohio State on the road is quad 1 too. So
that could be a big one. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think the Big Ten it's going to be one that I'm not fading as much as I did in recent years. I actually do like a little bit of the Big Ten teams this year.
There's a real chance I have Michigan in my bracket. Real chance.
I might be with you there, George. If I had to pick today, I might be picking Michigan as well. But shifting over to the Big 12, George, the Big 12, I love the Big 12. It never. I love this. By the way, Big Monday, Super Tuesday, where they have SVP after the game, and SVP is always raving about Fran Fraschilla and John Shambi. Is like, man, this Big 12 just keeps delivering. It's like Arizona, Houston, Arizona, Kansas, Texas Tech, Arizona. Houston, Texas Tech, BYU, Iowa State.
Is like the 7th team in the conference, and they've got maybe the first overall pick.
I know they just beat Iowa State's Polson the other night. Iowa State might be on the 1 seed line or 2 seed line.
UCF's got hoopers. Like it's
UCF everywhere. Oh my gosh, UCF can 100%. Like the Big 12 is no joke. And my condolences to Texas Tech, because I think they would have been another Elite 8 Final Four team, but JT Toppin obviously tearing his ACL right after that win at Arizona, maybe the best win of the year, going into Tucson and winning at Arizona. JT Toppin misses in the rest of the year. That pick and roll with him and Christian Anderson, it was one of the most unstoppable 2-man games in college basketball. And without JT Toppin, it feels like Texas Tech's ceiling is now limited. They cannot get to where they want to go now without their best player on the floor. That's a no-brainer. But nonetheless, the Big 12 is still really, really good, George. I mean, there's teams that in this league can straight up cut down nets. Kansas is streaky. They can beat you.
Kansas, was it who? I think they beat Arizona without Darren Peterson. Yes. I mean, like that's unthinkable. Kansas, and crazy. I will say they've been giving us Kansas at plus money on Big Monday like several times, and it's just
Bill Self does not lose on Big Monday.
I've never lost.
41-0. That's just unbelievable.
But yeah, I think like you said, the Big 12 to me is the best conference in the sport this year. I agree. And I don't think it's that close. Like obviously maybe the top, they don't have Duke or Michigan, but Arizona is right in that mix. Iowa State's having an awesome year. Houston's always good. Like the thing I love Houston so much because it feels like obviously, Kelvin Sampson's the reason, like he's the coach, he sets the culture, but their team feels so much bigger than Kelvin Sampson. It's every year they like lead the conference in offensive rebounding. They shoot the ball well. They box out. It's the small things that make you expect them to make a run, and they make a lot of runs. And that's just kind of what the Big 12 has been really this year. Like, UCF is like 20-7, and they're kind of not even one of the main thoughts of the conference. So
they're like the second tier.
Love the Big 12 this year.
I love the Big 12. I think every year I love the Big 12. It just tests you. It challenges you. I was watching Arizona Houston the other day. I was like, and the commentators kept saying, this is almost like they're watching a mirror image of each other. They both crashed the offensive glass. Every loose ball was like, it felt like it was like a football game.
It's a good ball to watch.
It was just incredible. The one thing I love about Houston, well, I love a bunch of things about Houston. First of all, they never lose loose balls. They just kind of like, they'll if it's a 50-50 ball, Houston will win it. The only thing with Houston, and this is their first 3-game losing streak, by the way, in the Kelvin Sampson. I think since Kelvin Sampson's first year, they lost obviously at Iowa State by 2. I think they lose the home game against Arizona, and then they just lost on Big Monday to Kansas. But of course, it's impossible to win in Kansas on Big Monday. But then again, it's like 3 of the best teams in the country right there: Kansas, Iowa State, and Arizona. That will challenge you. That will get you ready for March. So I'm not down on Houston at all. They have not in the 3 games that they've lost in a row. They've had uncharacteristically bad shooting games. Like they were shooting like 15% from 3. They're a better 3-point shooting team than that. Like they're not going to miss all their threes they attempt in the tournament, I don't think. With Arizona's defense, I think is better than Houston's, and I think that their guards are obviously experienced. They have Jaden Bradley and Anthony Del Orso. Houston's guards, Sharp obviously is a senior, but Kingston Fleming is a freshman guard. So Houston doesn't have a freshman guard. They have a freshman big man in Sinak. So Houston's not as old as they usually are. We're so used to Houston being this old team that's experienced. They do have a couple freshmen that are still finding themselves as they're talented guys. Like if you get a Kelvin Sampson having a couple 5-star talents, you're going to do just fine. Like you're going to be great by March, and they've had awesome years. But of course, they lose at Allen Fieldhouse. They didn't have the best games. Neither of the freshmen had the best games in Allen Fieldhouse. That's going to happen. With Arizona, my one trepidation was they don't shoot the 3-ball well, and they don't shoot free throws well. So with Arizona, can their defense carry them to a Final Four? I think it's possible that it can. It's that good.
In a shortened game, something like that where you're not making threes and you're not making free throws, you can just get stunned, right? Like obviously it can be bad.
If a bad team shoots, exactly right, yeah,
exactly. But yeah, I like what you said about Houston. I think that they're going to team that where sometimes it's, and this is kind of like a non off the court take, but sometimes it's best to lose a game end of February because you've got, obviously they know the Big 12 tournament's going to just be a gauntlet, and they know it's going to, you're never easy in March, but like to understand, hey, we've lost 3 in a row. Here's probably why. We only scored 56 points against Kansas. That can't happen. Stuff like that. The small things is probably going to be better. And I trust Kelvin Sampson to make those adjustments. And I think he's a guy who's going to be a national championship coach in the next couple of years here. He's been so close so many times. It just feels like it's so due. If not this year.
Agree. Yeah, completely agree. I think that the Big 12 will harden you up for the NCAA tournament. The last year, I thought the Big 12 has been the best conference in basketball for a few years now. But last year, the SEC was historically great. Like maybe the best single season from a conference ever. The SEC is not quite that this year. It's still a good league. Don't get me wrong. It's going to get like 10 teams in maybe. If there is an 11th team that gets in, maybe Auburn, who's 15-13, they might get into. I don't know.
If Auburn sneaks, that would be something.
That would be crazy. But Joe Lunardi and these SEC shills on ESPN are saying it's an 11-bid league. I don't think it's as good as it was last year. Obviously, there's no one on the one line. Last year, you had Auburn and Florida both on the one line, and they both met in the Final Four. It was an unbelievable league. Bama was a 2 seed that lost in the Elite Eight. Tennessee was a 2 seed that lost in the Elite Eight. Kentucky was a 3 seed that just ran into Tennessee. There's just too many SEC teams that you run into them in the Sweet 16. But this year, the top of the SEC, you got Florida, defending national champions. They're getting better at the right time. They're hitting their stride at the right time. Arkansas and Alabama, I think, are sneaky, really good. Not really sneaky. I mean, they're top of the SEC teams, but they put together a game the other week. I think it was last week, Super Tuesday. It was like 121-118 or something crazy. It was like an NBA game. I was like, this is unbelievable what I'm watching. The shot making, the rebounding, everything was Darius Acuff had like 47. LeBaron Thielen had like 36. It was like, oh my gosh. Bama and Arkansas have guards that can play in March. And obviously you have Calipari for Arkansas. You have Nate Oates for Alabama. These are legit coaches.
That's what I was about to step in with. Was that you might argue that the SEC has the best conference of coaches in college basketball. You could absolutely
maybe
not, but Like, I mean, obviously Todd Golden last year coming off a national championship. Arkansas's got Calipari now, Nate Oates, you know, I mean, like
Rick
Auburn,
Barnes.
Rick, like there's just so many great coaches there, and it kind of shows in some of the play. Like these are, I mean, I think they have what, maybe 15 teams are going to get 20 wins. Like it's somewhere close. Like they're going to have so many teams with 20 wins. So
Texas now with Sean Miller, 100%.
Texas is coming on kind of like it's just. And to me, the surprise is Auburn's lost 13 games. Like I thought that Auburn team was going to be a little bit better.
A lot of talent, yeah.
You know, like but at the top, I mean, Vandy's been super impressive this year, kind of unexpected. So yeah, credit the SEC. I mean, it's maybe not what it was last year, obviously, but Florida's just as good enough as they were, just as good to win the national championship again. I think it was Xavier Lee is actually shooting the ball. Like, you know, we had the first 2 months, you kind of couldn't make anything, and it's when the lid comes off the rim, it's like like we've got this guy as well, and so. Yeah, Florida's got some hoopers for sure.
That was my biggest question mark with Florida because their guard play early in the season was not good. Boogie Fland and Xavier Lee weren't making shots. It was like, oh gosh, we went from Walter Clayton, we went from Will Richard, Elijah Martin to that trio of guards to these guys. It's like, ooh, it's a tough shoes to fill, obviously, but they weren't filling them. Now they are. They're playing really well. Ruben Chinyulu, one of the best rebounders in the country. Florida opened the season with a loss to Arizona, and we like all saw Koa Pete for Arizona. It's like, oh my gosh, this Arizona team's loaded. If you look at Florida totality, they've actually those losses have aged just fine. Like Arizona's one of the best teams in the country. They lost to Duke by 1 on the road in Cameron Indoor early in the season. It's like that's a fine loss. That's totally good. And then in Florida now they're 12-2 in league play. Like that's a team that absolutely can make another Final Four. Like they are that good. Todd Golden I think is the best coach in the SEC, and that's an SEC with John Calipari and Nate Oates and Rick Barnes and those guys. Vanderbilt's having an awesome year. They're going to be in the 3 or 4 line, I think. Texas, Sean Miller in the conference. Now Mark Pope is getting Kentucky a little bit better. They had a bit of a rough start.
They're making steps, but they're not. Yeah,
and then they dropped a couple in a row, I think, to Georgia and to Auburn before winning last night in South Carolina. But you know these are all going to be tournament teams to look out for. SEC's got some good. It's not as like last year. There was like 5 teams that could win the national championship. I don't think there's 5 teams in this conference that win the national championship this year. But you know even Texas A&M is playing really well, Buckyball and those guys. But overall, I think there's in this group of teams, Florida. Arkansas, Alabama. These are like second weekend good teams. Like these are absolutely good teams.
Elite 8 for the year.
Yeah, 100%. So any final thoughts on the SEC or really just all these conferences as a whole as we are really just 1 week away, I think, or maybe 2 weeks left in the regular season, and then we hit conference tournaments, and then obviously
it's one of the best times of the year when you get it's so much college basketball. You know, you get like kind of those like the mid-major tournaments, and then you get some of the Power 5, and then you walk right in. Like I think it's the Big Ten championship is like 2 hours before the selection show. Yes. It's like the best. It's like the best week of basketball.
I love
it. Hard, like not really a ton of final thoughts. I will ask you this, and I'll answer it as well. If you had to pick a Final Four right now, and it's hard to do because there's a lot of teams in there, but if you had to pick, where would you land? If you want to go first, I can go first. It's your call.
Yeah, let me hear your Final Four first because I think we might have similar teams, but I want to.
So for me, Michigan and Duke feel like non-negotiables.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna put Houston in there just because I love Houston, and then I think for my last one, I think I might lean Kansas, which is kind of crazy, but if they're healthy and Darren Peterson is interested in playing basketball, I mean that team is so talented.
They are.
I think I like Duke, Michigan. Houston, Kansas. If I had to pick right now.
Yeah, let me think about this because I think Kansas is Final Four good or first round exit. I don't know.
They're like UVA of past years where it's like they're going to play their opponent, whoever they are, in a good game.
I mean, they lose by 20 at home to Cincinnati on Saturday. Yeah. They come home on Big Monday.
Really good ball though. Like I think they just won again last night against BYU. Maybe not.
I know. I knew it. UCF beat BYU.
Or it was UCF. Sorry.
Yeah, UCF did, but Kansas. No, Cincinnati's been playing good basketball as of late. 100% they have. But that was like a shocking home loss for Kansas. I think it was the biggest home loss under Bill Self. And then they come home on Big Monday.
That's the issue.
It wasn't on Big Monday. Yeah, on Big Monday they come home and they beat Houston. Obviously, I think Duke and Michigan. I'll put in my Final Four.
Arizona.
Here's the thing. I think Arizona let me see Arizona's region before it's a cop-out answer. But I'm like, Arizona's defense is so good, George. Like when I watched them do to Houston the other day, I was like, oh my gosh, this defense can care. They won that game, George, in Houston without Koa Pete. That's like, whoa, how'd they do that? It's one of the best road wins in the country. And they don't shoot the ball well. I think they missed like 8 free throws in that game, and they still won the game.
Houston couldn't score. That was like
Houston Arizona took Houston's offense out of the game.
It was.
And by the way, now the issue with Arizona is they win that game, but they missed 9 free throws. They were I think 16 to 25 from the free throw line or whatever it was.
Yeah, that's big.
I think if you miss 9 free throws, you're going to get someone's going to someone's going to make you pay for that. Someone's going to make you pay for those. Like Arizona cannot shoot the ball this woefully.
You're going to run into like a Vandy or someone who just
Eventually, if you shoot the ball that bad, you're going to get 6 straight games in the tournament. Like I don't think Arizona will be on a national championship pick because I don't think they can win 6 straight games of just not shooting the ball. Even at like an average level. So I think eventually they're going to run into a game where someone shoots the lights out. It's like, oh no. And as good as their defense is, it can carry them to a certain amount. But I would say right now I'd go Duke, Michigan. I got to pick a Big 12 team. I'm going to go Houston. I'm going to go with you as well. I'm going to go with Houston. Yeah. And then I think right now I might go Florida. I
don't hate Florida. I think that's a solid pick as well.
It's weird though because 3 of those teams were in the Final Four last year. It would go Duke, Houston, Florida. They were all 3 in there last year. I'm going to sub out Auburn and put in Michigan, but that would be the Final Four of last year basically. Give me one more week to see these big teams.
We can revisit. Thing is, things can change a lot. 1 week, 2 weeks. We'll see what the conference tournaments look like. Things can definitely change overnight.
Well, George, you know what's funny? Like a few days ago, and this was me like half kidding about it. I was watching all these Big 12 games. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do something I've never done before in my bracket. I'm gonna do a full Big 12 bracket. I'm gonna put an entire Final Four of Big 12 teams. This was before JT Toppin towards ACL, unfortunately. Yeah. But I might still put 4 Big 12 teams.
Dude, thing is, we're gonna get to the bracket, and it's gonna be like Kansas against like who is it? We'll say 2 seed Purdue, and I'm gonna be like, I kind of like Kansas. So like
it's a Big 12 team in there, George. I'm gonna do everything I can to get because I love Arizona's defense. I want to put Arizona, Kansas, Iowa State, and Houston in my Final Four if I can, but I'm not gonna have enough rooms for that. And obviously, I love Duke and Michigan. That's like Duke and Michigan are keeping me from putting in all 4.
Duke and Michigan feel like almost they have to be in there, or else you're not taking it serious.
They're unbelievably good. As much as I love the Big 12, what's keeping me from filling in an all Big 12 Final Four is Duke and Michigan. Like they're so good. On both sides of the ball, they could withstand a bad shooting game. They could withstand any like foul trouble. They're deep. They're well coached. Like Duke and Michigan, I agree with you. They feel like non-negotiables. But the Big 12, whoever comes out of the Big 12, like I feel like I say whoever comes out of it, but like the Big 12 tournament will tell me a lot of things about these teams on a neutral side. Because like I said, if you win a Big 12 road game, that almost should count as like 2 wins. Like it's so impossible to do. If you win in Kansas, it feels like if you win in Tucson, if you win in the Fertitta, if you win in Houston, like that feels like
Iowa State. We haven't even talked about Iowa State really today.
Iowa State's home magic is George. No one wins in Iowa State. It's the Hilton magic there that they have going on.
Right? I think Ames.
In Ames, no one wins in Ames. It's just one of those things where if you go to Iowa State, you're going to lose. You're going to lose in Iowa State somehow. Houston was up 10 with 5 minutes to go, and it's like, oh wait, Iowa State's now not going to miss another shot. It's like they're going to make everything. It's like, oh crap, this is just how it happens. Like this weird things that the environment gets crazy there in Ames, and it's just impossible to win these road games in the Big 12. That's why in the Big 12 tournament, this is going to tell me a lot because whoever comes out of that gauntlet, I'm like, okay, you are good enough to cut down the nets in March or in April this point. So it's like that would tell me I want to put like 2 Big 12 teams if I can, but I'm with you, Duke and Michigan right now. Yeah. They've been tested in quad 1 games. They've played each other in a non-conference middle of the season game. They feel like the 2 best teams right now, but the Big 12 to me, I agree with you, feels like the best conference.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, basketball is so tough because any given day you just don't know who's going to be shooting 78% or whatever. We didn't talk about Miami of Ohio tonight. I got to get a little love to my
100%. It's a great point.
Brothers out there. But yeah, it's so fun and it's the best time of the year for college hoops, so it's going to be great.
George, real quick on Miami of Ohio, they're 28-0.
28 now with I mean, let them cook.
But I think George, we agree. If they go 31-0, they get 31 regular season games. If they finish the year 31-0, they're in the tournament. Like they have to.
100%. If they're 31-0 and lose in the semifinal of the MAC championship and they don't get in, it'll be an absolute outrage because they deserve to be in there. 100%.
That would be a sham. If they get left out,
that would be on levels of undefeated Florida State.
Getting left out, exactly right. If they get left out for like an Auburn who has like 15 losses, I'll be like, okay, what are we doing here? Like this is one of those things. I'm like, this would be an atrocity because I've watched some MAC hoops this year. Akron is really good. Akron is good enough to, if they win their league, if they win their tournament, they'll be on the 12 seed line. And they'll be like, I'm not gonna say a pick 'em, but they'll be like,
you gotta have your 12-5s. You gotta have your 12.
It'll be one of those 12-5s, George, that everyone's taking. Like Akron's good, and Akron's the second best team in that league. Akron's only lost 1 league game. Obviously, Miami of Ohio is undefeated. It was to Miami of Ohio by 3 points. Like Miami of Ohio is really, really good, and they have another team in their league in Akron, and Kent State's also really good. That the MAC is a 3-bid, like it's not a 3-bid league, but it's 3 teams that could legitimately win a game in March. Like it's not like a schmuck conference. Like Miami of Ohio is not beating like tomato cans. I know there's a few tomato cans in the MAC, but there's a few tomato cans in every. I mean, the Big East this year is terrible. We didn't talk about UConn because they're playing it's a bad conference. It's just UConn,
St. John's. I mean, yeah, it kind of feels
it's UConn and St. John's, and then Villanova's going to get into it. Other than that, it's a 3-bid league. Like it's basically the West Coast Conference with Gonzaga and St. Mary's. It's not a good league right now this year.
Really.
No, the Big East is not. And I think the MAC, respect the MAC. It's a great point by you to shout it out because I almost forgot about Miami, Ohio. They're undefeated. They're the only undefeated team left in college basketball. They should, to me, a couple more wins, they are locked into the tournament.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, 100%. But this is going to be really interesting, George. We're going to revisit this, obviously, in March. We're going to fill out our brackets. We'll do the whole thing. But I love this time of year. We also have NFL free agency coming up here in the next I think it starts March 11th, which is like the week of conference tournament season and then I think Selection Sunday is like March 14th or 15th, whatever it is. But it's great time of year. I love college basketball. It's like the marathon of when March starts. I'm like, okay, we sleep in April. March is it's all hoops.
Sleep for the Masters. You can enjoy your peace then. But
100%. April. I'm putting August on. I'm putting Augusta, Georgia. I'm putting the Masters on, and then I'm getting ready for my NFL draft stuff. But March, I'm looking at college hoops, and I got a one-way street here of all college hoops. But one fantastic return for us, George. We took a few weeks off, few dull periods there in February, but we are now back, and we are obviously speed running this March Madness tournament starting in a few weeks here. But awesome episode, and we will see you guys next time.